Hello, welcome to Tallinn.
Thank you.
How are the emotions so far and what do you see happening here?
Well, I mean, it's my first time in Tallinn. It's a really, really beautiful city. To be honest, I'm just starting to really meet people, and I just did a, I just did a co-production panel early this morning that I thought was like quite important. Sorry, I think this is not the greatest place to be, kind of like,
Seems like there's a lot going on
yeah,
lunch break as well.
exactly. So no, but so far so good. Basically, like it's my first time in Tallinn. I took a little bit of a walk around. It's a beautiful city, and like I said, I've just been mostly meeting people, and I just had this co-production panel earlier on today, and I thought it was quite useful.
Would you introduce yourself and tell us what you do and what can you potentially do in relation to Estonia?
Well, my name is Raymond Phathanavirangoon. I'm a film producer. I work for the Hong Kong International Film Festival as a program consultant. I also work for the Hong Kong Asia Film Financing Forum, which is basically like a kind of like Cinemart in Asia in March. And basically we're looking for possible co-productions with Asia. So I'm here basically like just to, to talk to people and to see if there are any interests in possible co-productions basically. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested.
Fantastic.
So what should I bring to you?
Well, I mean, to us, for us, for example, for the co-production, the Film Financing Forum, what we're really looking for are basically people who are interested in working with Asia, and not only just like basically bringing cast or anything like that, but also as, looking for possible co-producers, maybe shooting part of the location there, also looking for money over there, but as a way to basically make the story work. So it has to be a project that is originated with a co-production in mind. So I think these kinds of projects are, I've talked to a couple of people in fact, mostly Icelandic filmmakers, but there's quite a lot of interest in Asia right now, especially like in Europe. So I think that's a good, good way to start, and maybe hopefully in Estonia as well. So.
You mentioned that as a producer, you read the scripts yourself, you work on storyboards very closely as a creative filmmaker yourself as well. How do you see the stories in Estonia? What kind of potential do we have? A small nation, not speaking English maybe, not thinking in English all the time.
Well, I mean, I think I mentioned during my panel, obviously I've watched Autumn Ball and The Temptation of Saint Tony, for example, so I know the director's work well. What I like about his work is, like the visual style. He's extremely visual, and that's one of the things that I really was quite attracted to. And honestly, though, I don't know as many Estonian filmmakers as I would like to. But the thing is, like so far, at least from the sample that I have, there's a lot of really very potent image making, basically, being made over here. And I think that maybe, that's something that could translate not just inside Estonia, but also outside. So to me, as a producer, I like things which are very strong in terms of, the cinematic vision.
How about the Hong Kong film industry? It is probably quite large and influential in the world. Just how does that carry over to people in Europe in general? How do they see you, and how would you like to be seen?
Well, I mean, Hong Kong obviously has a long record of basically making cinema, everything from like kung fu films, but also like art house films such as Wong Kar-wai, for example. Lately, pure Hong Kong films are being made less and less. They're mostly Hong Kong Chinese co-productions nowadays, and it makes sense because China, of course, has a much bigger market. So, but the thing is, and I don't only just work with Hong Kong filmmakers. I mean, I co-produced a film last year called Dream Home, but my latest film, for example, is from Thailand, and I have a film coming up from the Singapore and the Philippines. So to me, I'm very much interested in pan-Asian stories, and it's just not just just specifically about Hong Kong cinema as a whole, but films that can actually travel, wherever it's from, not just from one territory. So.
How will you convince a government who is?
Sorry.
How will you convince a government who may need to take care of social issues for the people in general, like pensions, for example, and rather than doing that, putting money into film? It's very difficult to convince.
Well, to be honest, I mean, filmmaking in some ways, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Sometimes too much government subsidies can hurt an industry because filmmakers get a bit reliant on certain like public sector funding, and sometimes I think that it makes people a little bit indulgent sometimes. I mean, that sounds a little bit bad sometimes, but I think it's important sometimes to make films that have the potential to possibly also get sold and have a wider market, and not just basically be a director wanting to make his vision and his or her vision and his or her vision alone. And so it's very important to think about the market at large. And in countries, for example, where subsidies are less, for example, Hong Kong doesn't have a lot of subsidies. But the thing is, there's a lot of talented people making, very, very good films. And to me, it's important to realize that having government support, it's a good thing, but that we should not be too reliant on it. And so it's a double-edged sword. And I know, of course, especially in terms of governmental policies, I don't know that much about how the Estonian government views these kinds of subsidies. But I think that it has to be, people who make these policies should also know about filmmaking and also be involved in filmmaking, because then they know how to basically make the right things. And instead of basically funding films just purely like that, maybe it makes sense to do more co-production grants, for example, so that basically the filmmakers also get to work with other countries and to basically potentially work as partners, and that requires a lot of exchanges of ideas and exchanges of just creative, and also working in different environments. And I think that's something that actually should be encouraged. So
okay, you look like a friend of Estonian film community.
Oh, thank you.
And you think very fast.
Yes.
I hope we can think as fast as you think.
Thank you.
Keep up with your energy and good thoughts.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.